Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, coming to you on Hump Day as we get into the National Basketball Association on this show. And if hopefully you saw the beginning graphic of the show, our thoughts and prayers are still out there for Damar Hamlin as he continues to try to recover in the hospital there in Cincinnati. Every single show that we do up until we have some definitive answers on what's going on with him, we will have that graphic on our show. So please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Also, please like, share, please pray for Damar Hamlin as he needs it right now. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, David Point Huffman, and right there is my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins, as we're going to break some stuff going on in the National Basketball Association, as this year has gotten off to quite the start with players putting up points in bunches in 2023 so far, as we're getting started up with a bang. And then before that, though, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions for every single team in the NBA. What do you think they're going to be trying to do this year as we go down the stretch here? And then, we're going to talk about the scoring explosion. Then we're going to do some GOAT talk, a staple here at the crossover here at Prime Sports World. DJ, happy Wednesday, man. Happy hump day. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I just want to, before we get started, the Damar Hamlin situation, because I wasn't here yesterday when you guys did that. It like the world kind of stopped.
Yeah, definitely. Like time was very slow.
It
felt like an eternity. Like we were. It was only an hour. Like until they canceled the game, it felt like a really long time.
Time kind of stopped, and it's one of those where were you moments, and I was slipping back and forth because I'm like, oh, the Bulls are playing, this is going on, oh, and the Monday night game is going. So I was doing a lot of flipping back and forth, and I didn't see the hit live. I saw, I saw replays of it, and this is a basketball show, and I'm trying to think how can when has this happened in the basketball world? And I'm like, it's actually happened quite a few. And the name that came to mind is, I don't know if you know his story, but Hank Gathers.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show yesterday a little bit.
So Hank Gathers was a star basketball player at Loyola Marymount in the 90s, I believe. And he had two instances. The first time he collapsed on the court, they were able to revive him and save the day. The second time he collapsed, he tragically passed away. But obviously, there have been signs of improvement. I saw today earlier that I think his breathing's 50-50 now, like 50% him on his own, 50%.
Yeah, things are definitely becoming more positive.
Things have definitely become more positive.
And we'll talk more about that situation tomorrow when we do the NFL show, as we get into breaking down week number 18, as we try to keep things together here at Prime Sports World. As yesterday was a very difficult show, and it's been a very difficult couple of days for me as a professional, because I work at a television newsroom. I've basically been covering this situation all week since it happened. So it's been tough.
Yeah, it's been tough because also this hits home for me, because as you I think you know this, like my sporting career was ended prematurely to a heart issue that I didn't even know I had. Yeah. All right, I was 15 years old. I ended up having open heart surgery to fix my right coronary artery, which wasn't structured right. And when they say he suffered cardiac arrest on the field, I'm like, yo, I was playing sports and I could have just dropped and nobody would have ever known. But again, all that matters now is him getting better. I didn't care about any other stuff that happened after that. We saw historic performers by Donovan Mitchell, which we'll get into. I didn't even care. Didn't care at all.
They did no TV airtime on Sports Center the night after. Let's start talk about the National Basketball Association. Let's talk some New Year's resolutions, and let's just go straight through the standings as we do this rapid fire. I guess we'll just switch off between teams, or we'll just react, and then you can react to the New Year's resolution. We'll just right through the standings. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. TJ, what's their Boston Celtics number one. What's their New Year's resolution for the rest of this year? Boston Celtics at 26-12.
Stay atop the East, get home court advantage throughout the playoffs, make it to the finals again. All right.
I like it. For me, I actually have stay healthy for the Boston Celtics. Moving on to them to the Brooklyn Nets. My New Year's resolution for the Brooklyn Nets is stay drama free. This has been a Nets team that's had a hard time staying drama free, but basically ever since Kyrie came back and they fired Steve Nash, this has been a pretty low profile basketball team. I mean, they're the second team in the Eastern Conference right now, tied with the best
12 in a
record.
row.
Nobody's talking about them.
Yeah,
So stay drama free for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, they don't want 12 in a row.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So yeah, stay drama free. I like it.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Man, ride the horse that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just keep riding that horse, man. Like he is. We'll get to him too. Like it is. Like he is definitely making. He is coming after it. I don't know what he after, but he is coming after it.
I mean, he's had, was it 4 straight 40-point games in a row?
4 straight 40-point games. I think 3 straight 20 rebound games. Like so, of the 4 or 5 40-plus games he's had, he's also grabbed 20
so he's
rebounds.
only had 3 40-point games in a row.
So how many of those included 20 plus rebounds?
2 of
them.
Not last night when he put up 55, but he had 43 and 20, 45 and 22 in a losing effort against the Bulls. So
like my God, bro, like I'm with you. Just ride the horse that is a Antetokounmpo because obviously everybody his right hand man is not there yet. Like Chris Middleton hasn't been able to play much this season, so. You got to
for me, actually, that's what I put for Brooklyn. For Milwaukee, I just get healthy is my New Year's resolution for them. Moving on from them to the Philadelphia 76ers, it's Cleveland Cavaliers. For me, the Cleveland Cavaliers, stay humble. Do not let yourself get so big headed because you have Donovan Mitchell who's put on 71-point performance. This team is 24-14, 2 games back in the Eastern Conference. You need to stay humble.
I agree. I agree. Keep going.
Moving on from them, the Philadelphia 76ers. DJ.
Make yourselves relevant again. No one's talking about you. No one's like everybody wants to, Embiid got robbed of the MVP. Okay, show us why you think you got robbed. No one's talking about you, bro. No one's talking about you.
I almost think that the Philadelphia 76ers like it that way because normally they're just a treasure trove of drama filled every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me, their New Year's resolution is got to be to make it to the second round, make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like yes. they have not made it to the Eastern Conference Finals yet with Joel Embiid on their team. That has to be the goal for this season. That's got to be the goal. That's their New Year's resolution.
I like it.
Moving on from them, let's talk about the surprising Indiana Pacers are currently the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. For me, their New Year's resolution is their fan base has to rally behind Tyrese Halliburton, get him into starter in the All-Star game. Tyrese Halliburton, starter in the All-Star game. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
My New Year's resolution for the Indianapolis Pacers.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Kind of what you said for the Cavs. Hey, stay humble. Like you have a young team. You're a young team that you don't know you're supposed to be bad, right? You're supposed to be bad. You're supposed to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. Like you're supposed to be bad. Like they're playing good basketball right now. Like let's just see how long it takes before they have that first 10-game losing streak or 12-game losing streak, or they go 2-8.
I mean, they might not have that kind of stretch. I mean, this team is really well built. I mean, Miles Turner's top 3 in blocks. I mean, they probably have the 6th man of the year if that award was given out today. And Benedict Mather, and he's going to probably win Rookie of the Year too. Probably be the first time ever that a player's won Rookie of the Year and 6th man of the year the same year.
Well, that's something we'd have to look up, but
I would put my money on it.
And Westbrook will have something to say about that 6th man of the year thing, but nonetheless, my thing for them is just stay humble.
From the Indiana Pacers, let's talk Miami Heat. This one's yours.
Blow it up. Like seriously, like I think you've reached your peak as to what you can be. Kyle Lowry has been more injured than not since you made that deal for him. You have to keep like you have some cogs there to build around. Bam, Tyler Hero. You made Duncan Robinson the highest paid undrafted player ever. So
He's been
like
better this season.
he's been better this he's been better this season because like it was last year like there were
He
stretches
was
where
unplayable.
he was unplayable. Right, if his shot wasn't
But
falling,
I mean, the problem is that because they need his offense so badly now that they're just kind of like whatever. If you're a terrible defender,
whatever.
we don't have a choice. You're gonna roll you out there no matter what. Oh, here you go, just go do whatever. For me, I like that actually. I'm actually surprised to hear you say a team should blow it up because you say you're Mister. But yeah,
No, like I'm all for blowing it up to an extent, right? Like I'm not gonna blow up a team, i.e. the Bulls, 1 year after a good year. Like this is a Heat team. They've been
I
together.
mean, the Heat were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They're 3 years removed from going to the finals. And
And
you want to blow up their roster. But for
yes,
me, they first of all they don't have future draft assets, right? So they can't trade for anybody.
exactly.
I'm gonna find a way. They're Heat. They're Miami. They're the big market. Pat Riley finds a way. Get yourself a consistent second scorer. If it's Jordan Clarkson or maybe Lauri Markkanen ends up in Miami, if Utah decides to blow that up, find somebody who can take a little bit of this load off Jimmy Butler on a consistent basis because they don't have that right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be him and Bam, but
yeah, but
so
moving on from the Miami Heat, let's talk about the New York Knickerbockers, and this one's mine at 2018. For me, it's stay the course. They've been solid this season. They've beaten some good teams, and I like the chemistry between Julius Randle's kind of had a bounce back season. Jalen Brunson looking like a solid signing now, even though I still think they kind of overpaid for him. But yeah, stay the course. I mean, there's going to be a player they're going to be able to trade for at some point, and they have 3 first-round picks. But for right now, just keep playing, play well. That's how you draw free agency. If you're the Knicks, you continue to win games. That's how you draw free agency. See, people can see you already have a good product on the court. You can teach people like, hey, you could be the final piece to this puzzle. Stay the course.
And the whole stay the course thing, it works, but 20 and 18 doesn't move doesn't move the needle like you think. Sure. Like, and we also got to keep in mind, like, for whatever reason, Knicks fans are impatient. They think they really think
it's every New York fan. It's not just the Knicks fan.
It's just no. Jets fans aren't out there thinking.
No, they are, dude. They're trading Zach Wilson away immediately, dude. They never give anything a chance, dude. They're the worst.
It's
the Giants fan, like even the minute they drafted Chandler Jones, they wanted him out of town. Like.
It's like you're 20. Obviously, again, like when and we kind of touched on that when they made the move. Like, bro, like you put all your eggs in the Jalen Brunson basket, and now you're kind of hamstrung with 3 max players: Randall, Brunson, and you're gonna have to give RJ Barrett. I think they already gave it to him, right?
You already gave him the rookie max.
You already gave him the rookie max, and you have a bunch of young players who you still gotta figure out, like Quentin Grimes, Trey McBride, I think that's his name, Jericho Sims. It's like game to game, it's a which one of these versions of these players are we gonna get? Are we gonna get a decent version, or are we gonna get the trash version where it's like last year? It's crazy how it works. Like, so a year ago, they're like Tibbs is playing Derrick Rose and he's playing Derrick Rose and what is it? Evan Fournier. Those two guys are getting minutes over the young dudes, and it was play the young guys. Okay, Tibbs is like, all right, this season I'm playing more of the young guys. Now it's, why aren't you playing Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier? Like, no, like you can't have, like, which one is it? Which one do you want? Do you want the young guys to get experience, or do you want them to play behind Rose and Evan Fournier? Like, you can't have it both ways.
Moving on from the New York Knicks, let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks, who, they're a fringe playing team right now.
Fix it. That's my New Year's resolution. Fix it. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care who you got to move. fix it. The key word here, like they fix it.
Figure out Trey Young. It's what I got for their news. Like,
Fix it.
what? Fix it. Figure them out. What is happening? Uh, from there, let's talk about the team on the outside looking in, the last team in the play-in, the Washington Wizards. And for me, their New Year's resolution: trade Bradley Beal. Finally, just do it. Like, I understand he's on a crazy supermax contract. I understand it'll be hard to trade, but trading Bradley Beal needs to be a thing. If the Washington Wizards really want to try to rebuild or like try to make anything of themselves, they need to trade away Bradley Beal.
I agree. I just also feel like it's the same thing with him and Dame. Like if there was a move out there to be made, it would have been made already. But nonetheless, I agree with you on that front.
From there, we go to our hometown team, the Chicago Bulls. And what do you think their New Year's resolution should be, Mr. Hopkins? As you lucky enough to pick the Bulls here. So go ahead.
Be consistent. Like we see games like the Bucks game, right? Like you get up, you play great, top to bottom. You play great. You show that you can hang with a perennial title contender, which was the issue last season, right? Like against the top teams in the NBA, like you got your ass kicked all year last season, and now it's like the complete opposite. You're like 7-1, 7-2 against the Nets, the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Heat, right? Okay, all right. So like now it's just find a way to play 4 full quarters of consistent basketball, right? Like you can make like just like you've had 1, 2, 3, I think 7. You've lost 7 or 5 or 7 games that's been within 5 points or less. Right, like that's 1 or 2 baskets.
For me, for the Chicago Bulls, it's make a decision. You're either gonna really make a go at this and try to like push for an NBA title, or you need to blow it up and try to get as good a draft pick as you can because you're losing that pick if it's not in the top 4. I know TJ does not agree. Moving on from that, let's talk about the next team on the standings, the Toronto Raptors. And for my Toronto Raptors, I actually have them make a decision as well. I know that's boring. I know I said that for the Chicago Bulls. But you have Pascal Siakam. You can get some serious trade value back. They're probably kicking themselves right now because they thought Scotty Barnes was going to take this immense leap forward. Hasn't really happened. They could have Kevin Durant right now if they wanted to. Make a decision. If you're gonna,
it's not just Siakam. It's like
Fred VanVleet's gonna need a new contract in this offseason. I know OG Anunoby has played. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like, make a decision. Like you're down. Like you're playing the Milwaukee Bucks right now. You know how many turnovers the Bucks have right now in this the third quarter? Halfway through the third quarter, the Bucks have 18 turnovers, and the Raptors are losing.
Yeah, moving on from them, let's talk about the
team turns the ball over 18 times and they win.
Not many teams, that's for damn sure. But when you have Giannis, anything's possible. You were frozen there for a second, TJ. I don't know if that was on my end or your end, but yeah, you froze there for a second. Moving on from the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, moving on from the Toronto Raptors, let's talk about the Orlando Magic. That's yours.
Establish your core. Like we talk, so like the phrase you used last year was timeline. Like players need to fit the timeline. Now we're back to it. Who is your core? Jonathan Isaacs is finally coming back after like 3 years of not playing. So that's just another. It's been a long time, right? Like it's going on. Well, it's going.
It's like 2.5. It's like 2.5.
3 the whole bunch. 2.5. So it's like now that's another cog to figure out where does he fit in. So obviously you're not. We all like Franz Wagner, so he's staying. You just drafted Banchero, he ain't going nowhere. You found a gem in Bol. Nobody was playing Bol. Then he goes to Orlando, and it's like, all right, I found the home. All right, Wendell Carter Jr.'s turned it around, so like that's already 5 players I've named.
Yeah, it doesn't include
what's the
their
plan here?
guard play.
What's the direction?
Yeah, Cole Anthony's still on this
You're right.
team.
That I have not mentioned Cole Anthony,
Markel Fultz. That's
Jalen
Jalen
Markel
Suggs.
Fultz, Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
Right.
Moving on from the Orlando from my
Make a
Orlando Magic.
decision.
Yeah.
Like, what direction do you want?
Continue growing your young talent. So we got Orlando too for as well. Moving on from there, let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets. This one's mine. For mine, their New Year's resolution has to be keep LaMelo Ball happy, because if they that's got to be the goal. Like, keeping LaMelo Ball, he's the best player your franchise potentially has ever had. Keep him happy. TJ, I think your connection's having a bit of an issue right now. Yeah, I just lost him. To the final team in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball. Yeah, for me, it's just play the young guys. I know Cade Cunningham is out for the rest of the season, but you still have the kid from Purdue, who's Jaden Ivey, who's a good player. You have the kid that you drafted as well, Jalen Duren, the kid from Memphis, who should be a good player as well. You got to find out if those guys can play. They got some talent. So you got to continue to build around those guys. And yeah, that's been our news resolution for all of the teams in the Eastern Conference. So if you want to let us know what you think their New Year's resolution should be in the Eastern Conference, let us know. And or even your favorite team, let us know down in the comments section what you think your team needs to do this year for their New Year's resolution. Is the Detroit Pistons are the last team in the Eastern Conference as we change his focus from the Eastern Conference to the West. And so we got some interesting teams in the Western Conference. Welcome back into the show, Mr. TJ Hopkins. Very happy to have you back in the show.
Sorry about that.
It's okay, man. It happens. I did finish the Detroit Pistons one. I just said that they need to continue to play their young players to figure out what they have in those guys, and try to trade off some of those older assets like Bogdanovich. Like, you should be trying to trade him if you can.
Yeah, if I'm the Lakers, I'm like, dude, why has
we're not on the Lakers yet.
No. I'm talking about for Bogdanovich.
Okay.
For trading by that's a team that could really use him. I heard what you said about the about the Hornets, which is make LaMelo Ball happy, keep him happy. Yes, absolutely. You don't want to be. You don't want to be the Eastern Conference version of the New Orleans Pelicans, where it's every big name you get once their contract is up, they just leave. So yeah, you don't want to join that club. And with the Pistons, I agree. Keep playing the young dudes, and eventually
it's unfortunate that Cade Cunningham's not going to play this season. But
it's terrible. It's terrible. But we all like what's his name, Jaden Ivey. So
Jaden Ivey. But I like Jalen Duren too, the kid from Memphis as well. So they just got to continue to play those guys. Figure out what they got in them. Moving over from the Western Conference, let's start with the team that's currently the number one seed in the Western Conference. That's the Denver Nuggets. And since I took the last team in the Eastern Conference, the last two, I'll let you go with the Denver Nuggets. The 24-13, number one seed in the Western Conference. The players will start today.
Keep it up. All right. Everybody's focused on Phoenix and whoever else in the West. Denver's always quietly been one of the top teams in the West, and they're just it's definitely one of those. Keep looking over there. Ride the train that is Joker. I think last night he notched his 90th career triple double, which is
he is the greatest draft pick ever.
Draft steal.
No, pick ever. Based on where he was taken and what he's accomplished. He's been the greatest draft pick ever.
That's what I'm saying. Steal,
you pick.
I'm saying draft steal.
I'm not even talking about being a steal. It's the greatest pick ever.
So he was a greater pick than Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's one of those context, man. I'm telling you.
He's
Nikola Jokic, greatest draft pick ever. Based on where they took him, the greatest draft pick ever.
That's why I'm saying he's the greatest draft steal ever, because he was a second.
I'm going to go further than that. He's the greatest draft pick ever.
I'm not going there. He ain't even led a team to a chip yet. But he's the greatest.
I'm just saying, man, he's got 2 MVPs. How many other players that were drafted that late in the draft have 2 MVPs, have single-handedly led a team to the playoffs? Nobody. I have for Denver. Yeah, just stay healthy. That's all you really need from this team, or get healthy. Because I know Jamal Murray's out periodically. I know MPG kind of plays every other night, but just stay healthy. From there, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. For me, it's what to do with some of your other players, like Dylan Brooks. Like you can't play all these guys. It's mathematically impossible to give minutes for all these guys, and eventually they're going to want new money. So you have to kind of figure out which of those guys are going to be rotation pieces of the future, or those guys that you're probably going to look to shop elsewhere to try to maximize your. The goal this season you got to be to win the ship. John Morant, also stay healthy. Stay humble.
Yeah, he did a move. They was like John Morant is like the best player to have like the almost poster. Like you know how many posters he's missed.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, that would have been the greatest dunk ever if he made it. He has
I mean
like
he's got a lot of moments like that for real.
he's like it's like he has spot like we talked about it the other day. Like he made those comments like I'm good in the West. The only team I'm worried about is the Boston. It's like, dude, you have to get out of the West
Yep.
to talk about who you're not worried about in the West.
So let's move it on
you.
to the number 3. All right, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. Just be humble, please. Like, stay humble, please. Like, you can come crashing back down to earth
real quick,
pretty fast. Like, yeah.
From to the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, right? The New Orleans Pelicans. TJ.
That's another one where I want to say stay humble. Like, or like more importantly, like remember where you came from. Like, it's not that long ago. Like, you were the bottom barrel of the NBA, and it's people could pencil you in for an easy W, right? Like, just it's great that y'all have the team that y'all have, and it's one of those situations where we talked about. It's like if they feel like they're one piece away or one or two pieces away, some of those young dudes that they have won't be there no more.
Yep.
So yeah, just remember where you came from. Like enjoy the ride for as long as you can. Like just hope that this core is the one that gets it home for you.
Yeah, for me, it's get healthy because Zion's currently out for a few weeks. Brandon Ingram hasn't played in a month. So yeah, for me, get healthy for the New Orleans Pelicans. From New Orleans, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. For me, it's still, I know Christian Wood's been pretty solid this season, but this is still a team that needs another piece.
Get Luka some help.
Your goal has to get somebody to help Luka. He cannot shoulder this workload for an entire season. He will get burnt out, and you will lose a season because of it. Just find somebody else. I don't know who that guy is. I don't think Zach LaVine is going to be on the trade market, but he would be a perfect punch next to Luka. That would be.
Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that, but because it's again like it's easy to say get him some help, but it's the same thing with every other trade. It's like, what do you have
Correct.
that I want, right? Like, what do you have that's of any valuable? Like that is of any value, right? Like, that's the situation. I think that's the situation that the Mavericks are in. Like, of course they want to get Luka Doncic some help.
Yep, they don't really have future assets because of the Kristaps Porzingis trade. So they're kind of hamstrung on what they can really do.
So it's just one of those things where it's like we might have to ride this out for a minute. You feel me? Like, next team.
Moving on from them, let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. And I just want to point out a quick fact here, TJ. You remember when we did the season preview show? Remember? Mm-hmm. And remember what I said about Sacramento? And remember the laugh and the I was disrespectful. Remember all that? Who's being disrespectful now, huh?
Well, that was before a game was that was before a game was ever played, and obviously, like we expect the Kings to eventually, go back to being the Kings. Okay. It's so like, well, what's your resolution for them, though?
Oh, you got the Kings, not me.
Oh, this is me.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was funny that you got stuck with them.
I mean, I guess, but it's. I mean, obviously, it's good that they're, back in at least in the conversation, right? Like home like their home courts. Their home court never really gets talked about enough because
That's
like
because
no matter how,
that's because they never won there. So
no, like no matter how bad they are, like going to Sacramento has always been a tough out. Like it,
well,
like
I
no matter.
remember we talked about this a couple like one of the first crossovers we did of the season when they have that spire that comes up out of the ceiling,
Yeah, the
like that.
beam.
Yeah, that beam. Like
No, like it's definitely one of those things where it's like no matter how terrible the Kings have been in the past, if you go to Sacramento, like they're a tough out because like it's one of those cities where it's like, damn, what is there to do in Sacramento? Like I'm on a
I mean, there's nothing
I,
else.
I'm on like a 7 game West Coast road trip. Sacramento's probably like the fifth. Sacramento's probably like the fifth night, like the fifth game in 6 nights, and it's just like you're exhausted, and it's just like I don't want to go to Sacramento. But the New Year's resolution for them, like, hey, ride the hype. Now this is a team that you actually do want them to ride the hype train, like the hashtag, like the beam, all like whatever mojo that they got going, keep it going.
For
I
me,
like
it's stay the course for Sacramento. I think they're going to
yeah,
have an all-star this season. I think they're going to be.
maybe
I think they're going to
two.
break that playoff drought. Yeah, maybe two. To the Los Angeles Clippers, and this is just stay healthy. The Clippers have been very good when they've stayed healthy. They went to the Western Conference Finals when they had their full complement of players. This is a good Clippers team that's deep as hell. Just stay healthy. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, got to stay healthy.
I kind of feel like what you said about Memphis is how I feel about the Clippers, right? Like how you got to find ways to play everybody, or at least sure up the rotation. Like we like
I think the difference between this team and yeah, you're right though. I think the difference is the ownership and the money that the owner is willing to spend. Because Steve Ballmer has shown that he doesn't care about how much money he's got to spend to make this team competitive. He just going to continue writing those checks, man. We've seen it.
luxury tax. What's a luxury tax?
Yeah.
Uh,
To the
now,
Trailblazers.
what did you say about Bradley Beal?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trade him.
All right, trade Damian Lillard. Like, find a way to like, please. And it's the same thing. Like, if there was a deal out there to get Bradley Beal to get Damian Lillard out of Portland into a more viable situation where he's gonna play meaningful basketball at the end of the year. Yeah, like I understand what he's doing. Like he wants to show loyalty to the team that changed his family's life forever. Right? So but this whole I've already won a championship. I play for the city of Portland. Like, bro, ain't nobody trying to hear that.
It's true.
No one is trying to hear that. Not a single soul in the NBA or anyone else is trying to hear I'm a champion. I'm a champion at life, basically. Like, bro, you are gonna like
When
you're
it's all
on the
said and
course.
done, when it's all said and done, he's going to kick himself. If he ends up staying in Portland and never wins a ring, will he? Not only one, he'll have a bunch of money because, but he will be kicking himself for never
like
going out and getting that title.
Like it's a difference if you're one of those players that never won the ring, but you had a couple cracks at it, right? Like
Yep.
Charles Barkley never won the ring, but Charles Barkley made it to the finals a couple times, or I think once. Yeah, Ewing made it to the finals. Reggie Miller made it to the finals. Never
Dwight
won
Howard
one.
made it to the final.
Dwight
Dwight
Howard.
Howard's got a ring. Never mind.
Dwight
That's
Howard's
a
got
bad
a ring.
example.
But like
I mean,
Allen
he'll end up becoming like Carmelo Anthony.
Like Melo's never went to the finals. Allen Iverson's went to the finals, and
like his career will end up like Melo's. That's exactly what will happen.
So it's like it's tough, man. Like I get that, bro. Like I really do. Like, but no one wants to do that, bro. Like at the end of the day, the name of the game is winning. You want to win.
Real quick before we move on to the next team, I want Jeremy Grant to make an all-star. They should be maximizing his ability to be an all-star. He's been awesome this season. Jeremy Grant has earned the ability to be an all-star this season. For the Phoenix Suns, my New Year's resolution for them is maximize DeAndre Ayton. Whatever you have to do to unlock his potential, do it. Because you basically, you have to figure him out. You have to figure out a way to unlock him because Chris Paul's getting old. Devin Booker can't stay healthy right now. The rest of these pieces on this roster, not that good. I'm just being honest with you. Like, they're not that good. Like, when Chris Paul and Devin Booker aren't hurt, this Suns team is not a good product to watch on TV. And DeAndre Ayton needs to fall. Whatever you got to do to unlock him, that's your newest resolution. You got to figure it out.
Fix it. It's fix it. Whatever, like, fix it. Well, to your point, if there is a move for DeAndre Ayton, you can't make it to like later this month, right?
Yeah, he's like, I think June 15th is the day that you can trade players that have signed those
June
extensions.
15th. Well, you like
January.
Okay, so
which is coming up actually.
Which is like literally like 3 weeks from
2
now.
weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks from now.
11 days.
I was with you when you said if another team has to offer me a deal and you match that deal, I'm going to be so disgruntled. I am going to be so unhappy because what kept you from offering that deal in the first place? Again, everybody wants to point out. You saw what Luka did to them, and like, no, Luka did that to everybody, not just him.
Moving on from Phoenix, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, who are shockingly the 10 seed right now. Yeah, they'd be in the play-in if the playoffs were to start today. 9 seed.
They are two different teams. So at home, they're like 18 and they're like 16 and 2.
They're 17 and 2 at home. They're 3 and 16 on the road. Like, wow, that's the worst split in the NBA. That's worse than the Detroit Pistons, who have 10 wins. 10
on the road. Or no, 10 wins total, right?
10 wins total. 5 of those came on the road. That is a worse record on the road than the Houston Rockets, who have 10 wins
total. And it's I didn't
even know that was a thing. That is wild.
Yeah, like they have been awful on the road. So like I just like the New Year's resolution for them is they go as Steph Curry goes. Like get him back. But even when he was playing, like before he got hurt, I think he got hurt against the Pacers. It was the Pacers he got hurt against.
That sounds right.
Even like he even played the game like they were getting their ass kicked that game. Like it was like just I don't know, figure out the road yips, I guess, would be the New Year's resolution.
For me, it's figure out these young pieces. I mean, you have some players you took in the first round, last couple drafts. These guys got to be contributing parts of a team that's going to go to the finals. Like if they have to figure out these guys. For the Utah Jazz, for me, it's the same thing as the Chicago Bulls. Let's make a decision. You were a fun story at the beginning of the season. Lauri Markkanen is probably going to be an all-star, more than likely, in the Western Conference. Maybe even a starter.
Like talk about
possible. It's possible.
Talk about it.
But you've fallen off back down to earth a little bit. You're below 500. You're clearly not a favorite to win a title. The whole point of this Utah Jazz season was to try to tank, try to trade off some of these young assets and collect assets to continue building up a new roster.
You got
to make a decision if you're going to actually continue to stay the course, and which is probably going to be like a middle of the ground, like maybe a fringe play-in team, or you're going to throw all your chips in the middle and really push to see if you can get Wembanyama. That's got to be the goal. Moving on.
They got the asset part right.
Yeah, I mean, you could flip Lauri Markkanen now for multiple first round picks potentially.
Clarkson.
You could flip Clarkson for a first round pick. They still have Mike Conley, the team that could use a point guard. Might want for a first round pick. There's stuff they can do. To the Utah Jazz, from the Utah Jazz to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Fix it. That's it. Fix it. Like you made a move this season where you thought that Rudy Gobert was the final, and you did this on purpose. You set me up. I hate you so much right now.
Why? What? How did he set you up?
I hate you. Because you know how I feel about the Timberwolves. You know how I feel about that Rudy Gobert move.
You up. I didn't
you
set you up.
You set me up. You are terrible. You are terrible. I see what you did there.
I didn't do that on purpose. Dude. That was just the luck of the draw, man.
100% did that on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, fix it. I understand Karl Anthony Towns has not been playing. I get that. I really do. But you made a move for Rudy Gobert thinking that he was the final piece of the puzzle to get you over the hump. And I don't even know what the hump they think it is, because you made the playoffs for the second time in a decade.
2 decades.
Two, well, no, I was counting the time when Jimmy Butler was there,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So they made this like Jimmy. It's been like since KG was there. The last time they made the playoffs before that Jimmy Butler season. It's been 2 decades. They made this playoffs 2 years and 2 decades.
well, I was including the Jimmy Butler playoffs, so like
Yeah,
they've made the playoffs twice, and yeah,
two
it's been a long
decades.
time. It's
Two
been a long
decades.
time. Um, like you,
The,
like
the other thing is like so Rudy Gobert has actively hurt the growth and development of Anthony Edwards. Like the only thing you should have been focusing on is the
was
growth of Anthony
improving
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Like you already
Yeah,
know
and
how much
like
money.
that Rudy Gobert trade is actively hurt his development.
Like he's like
But this is the core. These are the guys they gotta have. So
well, yeah, like now, like they're stuck. They're
yep.
stuck with it. Like they can't. They obviously they're not going to be able to like replenish the assets that they gave up, because everybody's like, you did it. Like they're actively
They're
laughing at
not.
the
There's
Minnesota
no. So
Timberwolves.
unless they trade Karl Anthony Towns, there's no recovering the assets. Yeah, I have this very similar. I have this make this roster work. To the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is my pick, and their New Year's resolution: get SGA as he's not only in the All-Star game, a starter in the All-Star game. Whatever your fan base has got to do, because SGA has been awesome this season, and he should be the starting shooting guard, point guard, whatever in the All-Star game for the Western Conference. SGA.
Uh, yeah, like that. Also with them, like who's your core? Like, what's the direction?
Yeah.
I understand Chet Holmgren's hurt, and like you lost Chet Holmgren before the season even started, and I know how you feel about that. Like you're gonna be on like the no player should play in pro-ams ever again.
I don't think rookies should play in it, because veterans who play in those programs, they understand how to play in them. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like LeBron, like he plays in these programs, but he doesn't take risks.
He played in the Drew League, yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't take those risks. Like he doesn't go. You don't see him trying to contest jump shots or layups and dunks during those games. Like rookies probably shouldn't play in those games.
Jesus Christ. The Jesus Christ wasn't for you. The Jesus Christ was for Kyrie Irving. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was like, damn, man. I'm offended you. Let's talk about the Lakers.
Outside of figure it out, it's right when they were starting to play some good basketball, AD gets hurt. And it's like, good God. Like, no, like, just can't catch a break. Just can't catch one. Anthony Davis can't. Like,
for me, the Lakers, you have two decisions right now. You could either try to win now, or you can build for later. Because no, I don't think blowing up is even on the table, because they don't have they don't have control of their own assets. So like they have those 2 first-round picks in 27, 28, 29 that they could trade to try to make this team better this year. But in order to doing that, basically cripples them later. And so you have to make a decision. Like you're either going to try to win a title this season, or you're going to have assets later. I just don't know what the Lakers are going to do. The decision has to be made. To them, from the San Antonio Spurs, yeah, just stay the course. Whatever you're doing or not doing at this point, just keep doing it.
So like I like how we did that, because like when at the start of the season, like they were winning games, and there's like it's like, do you want to tank or don't you?
You got that kid from Baylor shooting like one-handed free throws. He's wearing Dennis Rodman's number. He's got Dennis Rodman's hair. I know.
No. Since he made that switch, he's shooting 75% from the line now, bro. Like he's like 15 to 22, 15 to 21, whatever.
Like just stay the course. Whatever you're doing, just continue to do whatever it is. And then the final team, the Houston Rockets. What's your New Year's resolution for the Houston Rockets, CJ?
Same thing. I pick a direction. I saw a mock draft where what is his name? The Scoot Henderson, the point guard for the G League at night, gets drafted to Houston, and I'm like, one, that makes no sense at all.
Well, he would be interesting next to Jalen Green.
Okay, but like you have him You got KPJ, like you
I
got
don't, I
Kevin
don't,
Porter
I
Jr.
don't, I don't, I don't think he's in their future plans.
But you are, but you like, but the thing is, like, you already have a ton of guards, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
they do.
don't need.
But I mean, if he's as good as like, but yeah, the Rockets for me just continue growing these young players. Um,
Yeah.
but let's talk about something else. Moving on from the New Year's resolution, let's talk about starting 2023 with a bang, as the famous broadcaster likes to say. Was it Mike Breen?
Mike Breen.
Yeah, Mike Breen, famous broadcaster. 4 players have scored over 50 points in the last 4 days. First, we start with Donovan Mitchell with 71 points on Monday against Chicago. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 55 last night, a career high against the Washington Wizards. I'm sure he's tearing it up right now as well. Klay Thompson went for 54 on Tuesday as well in Atlanta, or that might be Monday actually. It's Monday. Sorry. And then this actually happened on New Year's Eve. Luka Doncic put up 50 points against San Antonio, and 11 players have scored over 50 points in one game this season. Players have scored 40 points or more 89 times already this season. 89 so far this season. So and if you include like the numbers that like were 39 points, I think it's like 110 players have scored, like 110 incidents.
And not to mention you got Luka Doncic, who went for 60, 20, and 10.
Yeah, one of the greatest single game individual performances ever. So what's behind the crazy numbers?
Like dude did some Wilt Chamberlain ain't even done. So like I was watching NBA Countdown earlier, and they asked the same question. Like literally, they asked the exact same question. Like Mike Greenberg asked the same question to Michael Wilbon and Jalen Rose and Stephen A. Smith, and Michael Wilbon pointed out an interesting point of view that all these sports, not just the NBA, like if you look at hockey's up 20, for the first time in 25 years. Like this is the highest scoring period in NHL history in 25 years. Baseball hires a guy like Theo Epstein, who knows when he ended 2 of the longest droughts in sports history. He ended the Red Sox World Series drought, and probably more famously, he ended the Cubs century-long drought. And he's like, make our game. And they're like, make our game more marketable. That's your job. The NFL has all but made it 7-on-7, right? So when you look at the NBA, So when you look at the NBA, and when you add player movement on the court, right? Like the way they space the court out, right? You can't touch nobody. No 3 seconds. No take, like the no take rule, like no take.
That was a great move. I hated the take fouls. So but continue. Sorry.
But you got that, and like so like it's just more stuff to like more scoring, right? So like it's when Luka, like I remember one time Luka Doncic caught flack for saying it's harder to score in Europe than it is to score over here, and they're like, oh, why don't you go back over there? Like, well, he's like, well, no, he's not dumb, but he ain't wrong either. When you look at how there's a reason why, but eventually Team USA figures it out. But there's a reason at the start of FIBA play or World play, Team USA usually struggles because you got a bunch of players that don't know the rules. They don't know that you can slap the ball, like if the ball hits the rim, you can tap it off and get a rebound. NBA, that's goaltending.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's one of the things. Like, obviously, everybody that you have listed on that on the graphic, and some players not listed, like i.e. a Kevin Durant who can go off for 40.
He's got multiple like high scoring games. Obviously I don't have.
So you got Joel Embiid officiated differently. Giannis officiated differently. Luka officiated differently. And we saw Donovan Mitchell the other night get officiated differently. That does play. It shouldn't, but it does. Like sometimes, like for the better players of the league, the refs are more generous. They'll, oh, you got bumped, I'll call that foul for you, and so on and so forth. We literally see Giannis get 45 and 20 and shoot 1 or 2 threes a game.
Yeah,
Like
he literally has like the quiet. Like I was watching the game last night on WTV or something, and
yeah.
like I was watching it for a long period of time, and like all of a sudden they're like, hey, he's got a double nickel game. I'm like, he's got a double nickel. Like when did
How?
he score? When did he
How?
score all these points? Like I just like,
Like
but
we like so like it's
but
and
I also think that there's more than just like the rule changes, right? I think players now are more
just that more
offensively.
skilled.
Yeah, I just think they're more offensively talented, and not to mention back in the day, like you didn't have to guard people at 30 feet from the rim like you do now. Like people are pulling up from like their house.
You ain't wrong, bro. Like it's like so like it's like another player not listed, Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry takes 2 steps inside the half court. You got he is known to let that thing fly.
And so that also puts extreme pressure on the defense because if you have to extend out that far, like you're liable down further. Like you have to, if you're extending your defense, you're stretching all of your
Mm-hmm.
coverage.
So I is as a defender, you're like, what more can I what can I do? Right? Like my older brother is one of those guys where it's like there's no such thing as defense anymore. Like and me and him been on the same track. Like and I used to get on you for that. It's like yo, like there's a reason there's been like the same 4 or 5 players for DPOI the last handful of years, right? Like and that's also the reason why the Defensive Player of the Year award changed, right? So for years it just went to whoever blocked the most shots and grabbed the most rebounds, right? That's why I was kind of glad Marcus Smart won it last year because his job is that much harder, right? You like the art of defending without fouling is so much harder now. It's like because every little bump is a foul, and I'm so glad that they're like that they let some of it go because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to play defense if you call every little touch, every little tick, every little tack a foul? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just let him go? Am I supposed to just let this player reign? Like, again, you said Giannis he dropped 55 last night. Donovan Mitchell he scored 70, and the officiating that game was so crazy. It's just like you literally saw Bulls players like, what? Like what is it now? Like literally, like they were like, what? Like they like, what is it now? Right? Like I can't play defense. So it's like we literally saw him get 4 free throw attempts to score 1 bucket. They like it's like we don't players like that don't need more help scoring the ball.
It's true. I mean, but yeah, I think I know the officiating has changed, but I just think NBA players are just way more talented now than they've ever been. Like
No,
shooting the basketball,
It's a combination of all
shooting
of
the
it.
basketball, because way like a little bit further back, and not even that far, like because we started playing positionless basketball, and everybody kind of has to be able to shoot the basketball now. Like that wasn't the case, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and so now everybody's able to just erupt because if you get hot from the 3-point line, I don't know how much you play basketball these days, TJ, but
Mm-hmm.
like if I get hot from the 3-point, I can win a game by myself. I'm not kidding.
I had a moment like that. It was just like it was beautiful. Like it was back in high school, but like I don't really like to your point. I don't really hoop like that no more.
I play like every day, dude.
And more power to you. Like I just didn't like the fact that everybody that I play. I'm all for being competitive. I really am. But bro, like the scout for like the recruiter for NIU when we both went to school here, the recruiter from NIU is not going to walk into NIU's rec center
Oh
and
yeah,
be like
I know.
and be like, hey, we could use you. Like come like no like that's the
I
part that
mean, I watched some of those players at the rec. They could have used those guys. Some of those guys.
and I'm
Let's
like,
be
but
real.
if that's the like no, but like if that's the case, they would have found it. They would have went to their high school and be like, hey, you're really good. Come play here. But that's
Yeah.
not the case. I don't like it's a matter of how like who it's a matter of like okay, so who's next? Like we saw a 70-point game, we saw a couple 60s, a 50. Like it's basically like on a night-to-night basis, who's the next guy to go off for 50? Who's the next guy they're gonna who basically like that's it. And it's almost like it's like what Russell Westbrook did to the triple double, and that's unfair to him because he single-handedly made the triple double like
Watered it down for sure.
watered it down for like yeah. So that's what this stretch of.
But it also, yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. It kind of has watered down scoring a little bit because, like, Jalen Bronson's putting up as having a 38-point night right now. He's scoring 38 points in a game that they're barely beating the Spurs. But like, 38 points just doesn't feel like that impressive. Like, even though it's extremely difficult to do. I mean,
and it's like, and it's gonna get to the point where like, oh, he dropped 50. Oh,
I mean, SGA
nice.
scored 33 tonight in a losing effort. Like,
it's like, we see DeMar DeRozan on a regular basis drop 35,
40,
40, and it's just like, oh, he did it again. That's cool, right? We saw Zach LaVine the other night drop 43 against Detroit, and it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's just like it's watered down to the point where like, I don't even care like who drops the most, but I want to see a 10 block game, right? I want to see somebody get 10 blocks. I want to see somebody get 5, 6 steals in the game. Like it's so easy to score now. It's like it's basically like if you don't drop 30, what are you doing?
It's true. It's true. Like if you're not scoring 30, like Nikola Vucevic is a good example. Like he's a good basketball player. Like he averages, 19 and 11, give or take. But like the fact that like, oh, he's not having like a 28-point night every night. Like what? Like it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But I think the big numbers for the NBA, those really good for business. Which is why they continue.
So like that's the point of view that Mike Wilbon made. He was like, all these sports leagues are basically TV shows. Right, like you want your quote unquote TV show to be the highest.
That's a good analogy. That's really good.
Like you want your TV show to be the highest rated show that night, right? So like okay, like hockey performance. Like all right, so you got Alex Ovechkin, who is going to go down as one of the greatest hockey players ever. Might he might take that mantle from Wayne Gretzky. I don't know, but like
I don't think so. But
like Ovechkin's been on the quest for I think he's at 8. He hit over 800 goals this season, right? He's over 800. I think he's second most all time now in goals scored in NHL history. Like the goal for him, like it was a nightly watch party on his track to get 800. And the NHL is like, yeah, we're gonna throw the Washington Capitals on every major like whichever.
True.
I think TNT has hockey now, but we're gonna every time we can throw them on prime time.
ESPN has hockey too.
We are gonna put the Capitals on. We are gonna put the Capitals on prime time TV so they can like 7 o'clock. You are watching the Capitals game. You are gonna watch Ovechkin get this milestone. Right, we saw it with Westbrook with the triple double thing. Like when it was time for him to break Oscar Robertson's triple double mark, national TV. We are going to see this. We are going to witness this.
I mean that's why some of these players are on TV a ton, like Luka, Joel Embiid, Giannis. So they're on TV a ton. Even though Embiid hasn't been on TV that much this year, actually, kind of surprising.
Which is my point. No one's talking about him anymore.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. It's really
but it's good for business. I enjoy watching it. I'd rather watch an explosive, like a really good offensive explosion as opposed to like a defensive grinded out game at this point in my basketball watching life.
When you think about this, like a low scoring NBA game is 105, 103. That's low scoring.
I mean, 5 years ago that was like it would lead the league in scoring. But yeah, moving on. Let's weigh in on what you think. Why do you think the NBA offense has become so prevalent as we've seen players scoring in bunches this season? But moving on from the last conversation of the day, We're going to talk about GOAT Talk. This week, I had the players for GOAT Talk. If you don't already know, this is where we get to shine some light on some players that never necessarily didn't get their shine while they were playing in the National Basketball Association. And this week, it's my turn to do GOAT Talk. So yeah, we're gonna get into this. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Player one.
Player
one was drafted in 1991. He was a second-round pick. He was taken by the Sacramento Kings.
91 by the Kings.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He played from 1991 to 2003.
Mm-hmm.
He played on the Sacramento Kings, Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, Phoenix Suns. He's a 3-time NBA champion. He's a 2-time, first-time All Big East, All Big West, as he went to Houston and New Mexico State in college. His points per game, 3,148, which is good for 4.8 points per game. Assists, 2.2 assists per game, and 1.1 steals per game. Do you know who player one is?
91 to 03, went to, you said Houston and New Mexico State. Which one did he go to first?
Houston, and then he went to New Mexico State.
So he's drafted out of New Mexico State.
Correct. Man, he played like a billion years in college. Like he played from 86 to 88, and then he played from 89 to 91.
We got to keep in mind, back in those days, it was more common to play.
That's 5 years. I don't know how he got another year of eligibility, but whatever.
Maybe a red shirt? I don't know.
I mean, maybe. Did I do that in basketball? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can red shirt in college basketball.
Okay. I mean,
take my word for it. You can red shirt in college basketball. Come on, man.
All right. You're taking your word for it.
You said the Bulls, the Suns, the Kings, and who else?
Celtics.
What position?
He played point guard. He won 3 NBA championships.
Oh, great. So he was on the Bulls three-peat, the first three-peat, right?
Not the first one.
He's on the second one.
Correct.
So that rules out, what's his name? That rules out Paxson. That rules out.
Yep.
It's not B.J. Armstrong because you didn't say Charlotte.
He also didn't play on the third three-peat.
No, he didn't. He was gone by that point.
He was also a coach for 3 seasons. He was an assistant coach for the Chicago Bulls in 15 and from 2015 to 2018.
Oh my God!
It's gonna kill you when I tell you it is if you can't get it.
What is it? I'm picturing his face right now. Like, why is his name? No, it's not Ron something. Damn, why is I know his face. I know his face. His name's not coming to me. Who is it?
Randy Brown.
Randy, there we go. I was finna say Ron Brown. I'm like, no, that's not him.
Yeah. It's all right.
I'm like,
it's all right.
It's not. It's not. I'm like Ron Brown. I'm like, no, it's not Ron. It's like, I pictured his face. I'm like, I knew who he was talking about. I'm like, damn.
Player 2. You ready? Player 2 was drafted in the first round by the Boston Celtics, but never played for them. He played from 03 to 2017. He's a small forward shooting guard. He played for the Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings. He played for the Fort Wayne Mad Ants before coming back to the NBA. Played for the Denver Nuggets, Indiana Pacers, Dallas Mavericks, Atlanta Hawks, Los Angeles Clippers. He also played for the Grand Rapids Drive. I think that's the Cleveland Cavaliers G League team. I don't really know. And then he ended up
No, that's Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Sorry, yes. And then he wrapped up his career as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he is currently on the Los Angeles Clippers coaching staff as part of player development. He won an NBA championship in 2006. He's a first-team All-ACC in 2003. He's a 2-time All-ACC defensive team, 2002 and 2003. He's a Big East All-Rookie team in 1999. He averaged 5.4 points per game, 1.7 assists, 0.8 rebound assists, or 1.7 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and he shot at 43% from the field. Do you know who player B is?
Drafted by the Celtics, never played for him. He's a second round pick too?
No, he was taken with the 20th pick in the first round.
Oh wow.
He went to Rutgers and Duke for college. He went from Rutgers from 1998, and then he went to Duke from 2001 2003.
Oh, so he was on that. Oh, he was on those. He was on that Jay Will team. He was on that Jay Will Duke team. Oh my God. Who is this? Who is this?
It's Deontay Jones. Yeah, Deontay Jones. Sorry, Deontay Jones. Yeah.
I thought he was a second round pick.
No, he wasn't. He was taken 20th pick overall by the Boston Celtics.
Light skin dude?
Yes.
Big ass head?
Yep. He was more of a defensive player.
Yeah, he was definitely a defensive guy.
He was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies for the rights for Kendrick Perkins and Marcus Banks.
I think that worked out more so in the Celtics' favor.
He did win a ring in 2016 as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team that came back.
3-1. 3-1.
Yep. So, Randy Brown or Deontay Jones, sorry.
What's Randy Brown? Not Randy Brown. Jones's numbers again?
Hold on a second. I just clicked off of it. Oh, there it is. So it's 5.4 points, 1.7 rebounds, basically 1 assist. He shot at 43% from the field. Randy Brown, on the other hand, averaged 4.8 points, 2.2 assists, and 1.1 steals.
I'm going to go Jones because I think he definitely had a bigger role on the teams he played for than Randy Brown did. Randy Brown pretty much just had to ride the Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Phil Jackson coattails and be like, yes, sir, no, sir. I'll get the bags. I'm here to spell minutes for
Ron Harper
till he catch his breath.
I agree with you on that too. Deontay Jones was an elite defender. He had a season where he averaged 13.3 points per game, or 13 points a game. Yeah, he was a really good defender. He averaged 2 blocks.
And he was undersized. He was undersized for his position, right?
Yeah, he was 6'6". He was 6'6". So he's small forward, shooting guard. But yeah, he was a really good defender, a lockdown defender for a lot of the teams he played in the NBA. I will also take Jones as well. But yeah, that's been my GOAT talk. Let us know down in the comment section who you would take in that scenario. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us here for Crossover. This has been a fun episode. Yeah, it's been starting out with a bang.
I think my next GOAT talk, I'm gonna do the team aspect again. I'm gonna find 2 teams that I'm gonna either a team or a coach. 2 coaches. Okay.
All right, bring it on. But yeah, this has been the Crossover presented by Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Tomorrow we're going to give our predictions for week number 18, the National Football League. I still don't know exactly what the NFL is going to do.
They haven't announced anything.
Yeah, so I don't know. So we're gonna make our predictions for week number 18. And try to continue to give you guys good content here at Prime Sports World, as everybody likes to have their mind off of kind of this like life sometimes, and so hopefully give you that a little bit here at Prime Sports World. I've been David Huffman, right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins, and TJ, what we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat and go Bulls.
And not only do we bring the heat here at Prime Sports World, we send some prayers for DeMar Hamlin and his family and friends. That continued narrative needs to continue. Love to see what they were going on with his GoFundMe. It was $6 million when I left work today.
Oh, it was $7 million last time.
I haven't checked it since I got off work. So, but yeah. So thank you very much all for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow breaking down week number 18. That's going to happen about 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss that content. Thank you all very much and have a great night, TJ. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
See you, man.
Peace, bro.